curious.
I want to spend as much time as possible talking about your plans for the future, but you know as well as I do that there is one subject on everybody's lips today, and they want to know why the police were called to your house in the early hours of Friday morning.
Thank you, Iain, and thank you very much for your kind remarks and your generous introduction, and thank you everybody for coming along to these first and most important hustings that we're going to be having. I don't know, it's not the most important. Be careful what I say. They'll all be important, but these are the first. Iain, listen. I think what people have come here today, seductive interviewer, there you are. I think people have. I don't think they want to hear about that kind of thing. Unless I'm wrong. I think. Forgive me. I think what they want to hear, is what my plans are for the country and for our party.
We will come on to that.
And I know you're going to have to come back, and I salute your indefatigability as a journalist. I'm under the sad obligation of wanting to get my message across to our party.
Well, you've just taken up a minute with that answer, which has told us absolutely nothing. If the police are called to your home, it makes it everyone's business. You are running for the office of not just leader of the Conservative Party, but Prime Minister. So therefore, a lot of people who admire your politics do call into question your character, and I think it is incumbent on you to answer that question.
That's okay. Well, look, that's a fair point. And people are entitled to ask about me and my determination, my character, and what I want to do for the country. And let me just tell you that when I make a promise in politics about what I'm going to do, I keep that promise and I deliver. And sometimes I must confess that when I was mayor in London, I even delivered some of the promises that people thought were most eccentric and most unwise. I mean, people said that we shouldn't have an open platform on the back of the new Route Master bus. I think they said that Brussels was against it and that it was against health and safety. But we delivered it, and we delivered cuts in
With
crime,
respect,
as I
you're
said.
completely avoiding my question.
Well, I told you I was going to tell the good folk who have come here about. You asked about my character. Actually, I'm not avoiding your question. You asked a very direct question about my character, and what I'm telling you.
Well, let me put it another way. Let me put it another way. Does a person's private life have any bearing on their ability to do the job as Prime Minister?
Promises, and when you look at my determination to deliver for people who vote for me, when I say I will do X, I generally speaking deliver X plus 10. So we said we were going to cut crime. We actually cut crime, as I said, by almost 20%. We cut the murder rate in London by 50%. We massively increased investment in transport. And it was, broadly speaking, a golden age. And I think
Boris,
most people, if I can say, most people would really rather judge my ambitions and my character and my programme by what I deliver.
No, what they want to know is... Just answer that. It is a very simple question. I think any politician, I shall ask Jeremy Hunt the same question as well. Does a person's private life...
Don't boo! No. Don't boo the great man.
When he answers this question, I will move on.
No.
Does a person's private life have any bearing on their ability to discharge the office of Prime Minister?
Well, I've tried to give my answer pretty exhaustively. I think what people want to know is whether I have the determination and the courage to deliver on the commitments that I'm making, and it will need a lot of grit right now. And I think people are entitled to think about this, and this is a relevant consideration, actually, Iain. When I was mayor, we went through some very tough times, and we had the deepest recession for 50 years. We had riots, which you may remember. We had strikes. We had all sorts of really difficult things to deal with. The Olympics themselves, by the way, were no picnic to begin with. I mean, the opening, the 3 weeks before the Olympics were a heavily disguised disaster, actually. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And it was my job to keep people together, to bring our city together, and to get the job done. And that, I think, is what the people of this country are looking for now. They're looking for somebody with the determination and the courage and the application to get Brexit over the line, to relaunch our party, and then to take the fight to the socialists. That's what people want.
So just to be clear, you're not going to make any comment at all on what happened last night?
I think that's pretty obvious from the foregoing, Iain. But
Okay.
But I've sat where you've sat. I understand the responsibilities.
Well, I wouldn't
that
have
you
spent the first 5 minutes on it had you answered the first question.
Well, I did answer it.
Anyway.
Right,
okay, well, let's move on.
If you want to give me another opportunity to say what I want to do, I'm happy to do it.